Hi everybody, welcome to Piethon Coders. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today I'll be showing you how to code a spirit animal quiz part 3. So all I've done since part 2 is I've just named my program. I've chosen to name it spiritanimal.py, but you don't have to name it this. You can name it whatever you want that helps you know what it is before you click on it. So basically in video 2, we talked about how we will assign a score for each animal based on the user's answer choices. So now we need to know how to do this in Python. So in order to do this, I want to introduce something to you guys called an if-else statement. So an if-else statement is two parts. So there's an if statement, and an if statement basically tells the computer whether to run a certain part of code, depending on a certain set of conditions. So in real life, we use these all the time. So let's say you're low on food, for example. Then you go to the grocery store, or let's say you're cold. Then you put on a jacket. Now, the other part is an else statement. And an else statement tells the computer to run some code assuming the if conditions are false. So, for example, we would use these if, for example, you're low on food. Then you go to the grocery store. Else, meaning if you're not low on food, then you stay home. But in this case, we actually have more than 2 potential options. We actually have 6, one for each animal. So in order to tell the computer to consider each of these potential answer choices, we need to use something called an elif. So elif is short for else if. It basically introduces more options assuming the if conditions are false. So it doesn't have to jump straight to the else code. So in real life, we use if, elif, and else statements a lot. So let's say you have time for one errand before dinner. Then if you're low on food, you go to the grocery store. Elif, you're low on dog food, you go to the pet store. Elif, you're low on batteries, you go to the hardware store. And then else, stay home and watch a video. So basically in our game, we're going to use if, elif, and else statements to add points to each spirit animal based on which answer the user chooses for each question. So for example, in question 1, I decided that answer choice A, to watch a movie, is something that a rabbit would do. So if the user chooses answer A, then we would add a point to the rabbit's score. Or similarly, if the user chooses answer B, then we will add a point to the fox's score. So if we were to create an if, elif, or an else statement in English, we would have something like if question 1 equal A, which is basically saying if the user types in A, then add 1 point to rabbit score. And then the second one would be something like elif. The answer to question 1, it's not A, instead it's B. Then add 1 point to the fox's score. And then elif, question 1 equal C. So if the user doesn't type in A or B, then if they type in C, then we're going to add add 1 point to now the pig's score. And then after that, elif q1 equal D, which is saying if they don't choose A and they don't choose B and they don't choose C, so if they choose D, then we're going to add 1 point to the panda's score. So these are all random, by the way. It's not actually, there's no system to it. I just decided that answer choice A was something a rabbit would do, answer choice B is something a fox would do, etc. It's not actually correlated. If you have, for example, only 4 possible animals, like let's say you just had rabbit, fox, pig, and panda, then you wouldn't need to add what I'm about to add. So then after that, I have 4 different animals. So I have 6 different animals, which means I need 6 different answer choices. So I'm going to say elif, the answer to question 1 is E, which means it's not A, it's not B, it's not C, and it's not D. Then we want to add 1 point to the otter score. And then the last one we want to do is an else, which is saying else. Elif, because we have one more answer choice, which is saying elif question 1 equal F. So it's not A, it's not B, it's not C, it's not D, it's not E. They put an F. Then we want to add 1 point to the Piethon score. And then if none of that happens, so let's say they make a typo and they accidentally type G instead of F, then we're just going to write else print, sorry, that is not a valid answer. We're not going to actually do anything, like we're not going to restart it for them or anything. We're just going to alert them that that's not a real answer and that now they need to restart it. So now we have all of our code for our if, elif, and else statements. So now we need to know how to actually add points to a particular animal score. So in order to do this, we need to use something called a library. In this case, we will use Python's math library. So I like to think of this as kind of an expansion deck to Python. So we are going to use this library by, at the very top, just typing import math. So that's just the name of the library. It's called math. And now that we've imported it, it's going to allow us to use everything in that library. So it's going to allow us to perform all kinds of math functions, like addition. So in order to increase the animal score, we need to start by identifying all the animals as variables and start them off with a score of 0. That way, every time they choose a specific answer option that's correlated to an animal, so like let's say for the first question they chose B, then now we're going to add a point. But we can't do that if we don't first define all of the animals' values at 0. So I'm just going to put that right here at the very top. So I'm just going to put fox equal 0. And then pig equals 0. And then rabbit equals 0. And then panda equals 0. And then otter equals 0. And then last we have Piethon equals 0. So now that we've defined all of them, we need to actually go back and look at our if-else statements, or if-else and elif statements, so that we can change this code, because right now it's not going to actually do anything. I've just written these in as comments so we can visually see it. So now we're just going to alter this so that now it'll actually say, now it'll actually do something. It won't just do nothing. So now I'm just going to do if q1 equal a, then I'm going to we define the variable as just rabbit, so I'm going to put rabbit plus equal 1, which is going to add 1 point to rabbit. I'm going to do the same for the next one, so I'm going to do fox plus equal 1. And here I'm going to put pig plus equal 1. Oops. Plus equal 1. And then I'm going to put panda plus equal 1. And then otter plus equal 1. And then the last one, I'm going to put Piethon plus equal 1. So then we will do the same for the next few questions, and I'm just going to type that later so you don't have to actually watch me type all of them. So all we're going to do is just change it slightly. So instead of saying Q1, we're going to say Q2 or Q3 or Q4 or Q5, depending on the question. And then we are also going to change, for example, let's say in question 2, we decide that answer A, Earth, is instead something that a Bichon would choose. So then we're just going to change around which animal correlates with which answer. So basically in the next video, I'm going to show you guys how to finish off the whole program by using if-else statements to determine the winning spirit animal. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it. If you have any questions or ideas for new videos, put them in the comments below and I'll try my best to address them. Happy programming!